Hello, in this lesson we're going to be looking at a new type of figurative language. So the term figurative language might seem quite familiar by now. We've used that term quite a lot, but the reason for that is because there are many types of figurative language, and as tedious as it may be, we need to keep reminding ourselves of the 8 main types. Okay, so I know that we've done this quite a few times, but it's important that we sort of constantly remind ourselves so it sticks with us. Okay, and then like we did recently with idioms, we're going to focus on one type. Okay, so let's go to my list. Okay, Annabelle, can you tell us what does the I in... No, actually, Annabelle, can you tell us why does it say I shampoo on the screen?
It says eye shampoo because that means of all the figurative languages.
Perfect. It helps us to remember all of the different types of figurative language. And Annabelle, do you remember what I stands for?
Yeah, I stands for idioms.
Perfect. Let's see if Annabelle is correct. She is indeed I for idiom. So idiom's a type of figurative language, okay? But we've got 7 more to talk about. So let's go to Ava. Ava, what does the S stand for?
Simile.
And Ava, let me put you in the spot a little bit. What is a simile?
It's saying something is like something else.
Perfect. That's exactly what it is. Very good. It's saying something is like something else. But is that the one we're talking about today? Only time will tell. Let's go to Scarlet Alice. Scarlet Alice. What is the H for?
The H is for hyperbole.
It's up to you. Do you want to tell us what hyperbole is in a nutshell?
Hyperbole is like the very fancy way of saying exaggeration.
Perfect. A fancy way of saying exaggeration. It's when we exaggerate. Okay, let's go to um, Alexa for A. Alexa, what does A stand for?
I think A. I used to think it was adjective, but last time I said it, it wasn't right. So I'm thinking now. Oh, alliteration. Sorry.
Perfect. Yeah, and good. I love that. Doesn't that show? I love when that happens because it shows that we learn. Because Alexa was like, "Well, actually, last time when I said adjective, it was wrong," and then her brain was like, "Well, what was the correct answer last time?" And you remembered. So it shows that we're learning. Brilliant. By the way, I've not been flashing these up. Here we go. Hyperbole, alliteration. Alexa, do you want to tell us what alliteration is? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Straight and like Sam said, happy, hurry. It would be like it has two words that have the same letter at the start.
Cool. Perfect. So yeah, alliteration are consecutive words or words that are very close together that have the same sound at the start. Fantastic. Well done, Alexa. Let's go to Era. Era, do you remember what M stands for?
Doesn't M stand for metaphor?
It does indeed. And do you know what a metaphor is?
A metaphor is saying, like, if can I give an example?
Of course you can.
Like, say, the blanket was a pile of feathers. It means a pile of feathers is very, very fluffy. So it's describing the blanket as very fluffy.
Yeah, very good. It's what, like you said, it's when we say something is something else. Earlier, Ava told us that a simile is when something is like something else, and the difference with a metaphor, like Ira said, is when something is something else. I forgot what you used. Was it the duvet, the blanket? The blanket is or was a pile of feathers. But of course, we're not talking about any. Well, we don't know which one we're talking about just yet. We're not going into all of them. Just a very, very quick description before we find out which one we're looking at. Let's move on to P. All right, Kiva, do you know what P stands for?
Personification.
I love that, especially from one of the younger learners. Brilliant. Do you know what personification is, Kiva?
No.
No problem. You've not been doing this for too long. Do you want to guess, or do you just not, or do you want me to move on and stop and leave you alone?
Leave me alone.
Okay, brilliant. Perfect. Thanks, Kiva. No, well done for even knowing that, Kiva, especially as you're year four, and most here are year five, so you're doing very well. So let's go to first of all, let's sort personification out. Again, we won't go into it in too much detail because that's not the purpose of today's lesson. But personification, in a nutshell, is when we make something that isn't human behave like a human. For example, we might say something like the light blinked, or we might say the sun smiled. So we have these things that aren't human that are doing human actions. There is more to it, but of course that's another lesson. Okay, let's go to Thomas. Thomas, do you know what the O stands for, or any of the O's stand for?
Onomatopoeia.
Awesome. And do you know what onomatopoeia is?
Um. Um.
That's actually a really good example.
Can I do an example?
Go on, give me another example.
The ghost said boo.
Okay, yeah, it's clear, you know. Yeah, so yeah, well done, Thomas. So onomatopoeia is when we use words that sound like the sounds that we're trying to that we're talking about, right? So, for example, if we jump in a river, or jump in any water, or we play around in the bath, we might hear the splash sound. So that word splash becomes onomatopoeia because it's mimicking the sound of the thing we're talking about. Perfect. Okay, and then we've got one more O. So let's go to Ragnar. Ragnar, what's the final O?
Oxymoron?
Perfect. Now, do you know what an oxymoron is? This is a bit tough, this one.
No.
No problem. All right, so oxymoron, guys. If only we were learning about oxymorons today. Oh wait, we are. Today we will be talking about oxymorons. Okay, so there's this thing, right, where when something sounds tough, as humans, we believe that it's going to be difficult. In other words, when we hear a word like oxymoron, which is, doesn't roll off the tongue, it's not very familiar, it's quite new to us, we automatically assume that it's going to be tricky. But I'm going to show to you that actually oxymorons are, in my opinion, one of the easier types of figurative language to get our heads around. Okay, so let's talk about oxymorons. Now, what I'd like to do before we talk about what an oxymoron is take a look at the terms that we have on the screen. We've got deafening silence, seriously funny, bittersweet, living dead, and all I'd like you to do for the next 1 minute is look at those terms, look at those phrases and think, is there anything that kind of links them which gives you an idea as to what an oxymoron might be? Do you notice anything about them? So I'm going to give you 1 minute to look at those words and then I'll be back with you in about 1 minute, guys. Okay, right. Let me go through the list again. So we're at Hayden. All right, Hayden, don't worry if you didn't notice anything, but did you notice anything?
I actually did.
Oh, perfect. And what did you notice?
I figured out that the top
not number, the top word and the bottom word, they're antonyms, like they're different. Because if you have a look, defying silence is like very quiet, and seriously funny, that's very loud.
I know exactly what you're saying, Hayden. I know exactly what you're saying. Before I show you the definition of oxymorons, guys, just going to hear from two others, and then we'll unpack it together. But Hayden, you're onto something. Oki and Ari, did you notice anything?
We noticed there were like opposites, like living and dead. Living is an antonym to dead.
Very good. Nothing goes past you lot. Very, very good. So before we go to Jacob, let's quickly summarise what Hayden and Oki and Ari have said. There seems to be some connection between the first and second word, doesn't there? And we'll clear that up in a minute. So let's go to one more person. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, have you got anything else to add?
I think that they're like actual opposite of the actual opposite of words, and like deafening silence. So something loud and silent. So opposites of words.
Yeah, you've all perfectly, perfectly defined what it is to be an oxymoron, right? Here is the definition, guys. So let me read it to you. An oxymoron is a phrase made of two words that seem to mean the opposite of each other, but when put together, they create a new meaning. Okay, so this is what you guys said, isn't it? So let's look at these. We're going to look at them one at a time, okay? And then we're going to practice using them in sentences. So we've got the first one, which is deafening silence. What does that mean? Okay, deafening silence refers to a silence that is so noticeable that it seems loud. So imagine that you're in a place where it's completely silent, but because it's so silent, you notice the silence. The silence becomes quite loud. It becomes really clear that it's silent. Here it is in the sentence. There was a deafening silence in the hall straight after the head teacher yelled at the student. So let's imagine we've got a scenario where a student is messing around in assembly and their head teacher yells, and because the head teacher means business and is being quite strict, everyone suddenly gets a bit uncomfortable and observes it, and everyone's really, really quiet. That quiet you hear is deafening because everyone's aware of this sudden silence. Okay, so my question to you guys is, can you use deafening silence in a sentence of your own? So see if you can do that in 1 minute, guys. I'll try and talk quietly so that I don't disturb your sentences, but for anyone that's a bit confused, it's not just about a silent scenario. We're not talking about a scenario which is silent. We're talking about a scenario where perhaps something's happened, where the silence becomes more noticeable. Almost like an awkward silence. Oh, Alexa, that sounds like it comes straight from a scary novel. I love scary novels, they're my favourite, so I like your sentence. Yeah, good, Oscar. Thanks, Scarlett. Yeah, that's a good one, Annabelle. I'll read that one out in a minute. Yeah, I like that, Okinari. It's like a juxtaposition, like a big contrast between two things that have happened. I like that one. Great, Ava. Very good, Hayden. Good context. Yeah, Thomas, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. That I noticed that a lot as well. Actually, Thomas said that there's a deafening silence when people are doing exams. Yeah, when people are doing exams, you're suddenly more aware of how silent things are. Let me read Annabelle's really quickly. It says the room was filled with a deafening silence after the unexpected announcement. So if you imagine that you're in a room, I don't know, maybe it's a like a I don't know family meeting, or maybe an adult that goes to a staff meeting at work, and there's an announcement, and perhaps the announcement is a little bit, maybe a bit worrying, or not the news that people wanted. When people are trying to process that news, everyone remains a bit quiet, don't they? And that silence becomes quite noticeable. So that's what we mean by deafening silence. And of course, it's a type of oxymoron. Very good era. All right, perfect. Well done. So let's move on to seriously funny. But now I'm going to go back through the list to ask for a bit of help. Annabelle, what do you think seriously funny might mean?
Seriously funny might mean that something is really funny because it says like it's serious and funny, they're opposite. So I think it means like really funny because it says seriously, that means really funny. So it might mean really funny.
Yeah, perfect. I like how you've used like the extremities, the adjective seriously to mean like really, very. So you're right, very funny. And of course, we've got the two words that are antonyms. We've got serious and funny. If we describe someone as being serious and we describe someone as being as funny, they're antonyms, aren't they? But together, it means very funny. Okay. So let's take a look at an example. Seriously funny refers to someone or something that is very funny. Have you seen that new comedy? It's seriously funny. Okay. So once again, do you think you can use this oxymoron, seriously funny, in a sentence? No problem, Florence. Don't worry, you'll catch on. You'll catch on. Good context, guys. I love that you're putting context in your sentences. It's really good. It shows you know exactly what these phrases mean. Yeah, Skylar, that's good. The class clown thinks he is seriously funny, and in brackets, he isn't. All right, very, very good, guys. Amazing. Let's move on to the next one. So next we've got bittersweet. So who's next on the list? Let's go to Ava. Okay, Ava, what do you think about bittersweet?
I think it means like something good or happy happens, but it's also like sad and bad at the same time.
Perfect. That's exactly what it means. Yeah, very, very good. Going to extend that question to Scarlett. So, Scarlett, Ava has perfectly explained what bittersweet means, but my question to you is, why does bittersweet mean that? What is it about those two words together? What does each one mean individually?
So bitter means that it has an unpleasant taste,
Awesome.
and sweet means that it has like a sugary or confectionery taste.
Good.
So I don't know what the oxymoron means, but I think it like when they're put together as one word, it might mean that something is like very sweet.
Cool, yeah, I can see why you'd think that, because bitter, like seriously, might mean like really sweet. But what Ava said was bang on, and it's when, well, let me show you an example. Bittersweet describes a situation that is both positive and negative at the same time. So, like Scarlett said, with the something not being pleasant and something being pleasant, and like what Ava said, we have we have a negative and a positive thing happening at the same time. So, take a look at this sentence. It says, "It's bittersweet going on holiday. I will miss my pet dog, but I am excited to sunbathe." So even though a good thing is happening, somebody is going on holiday, which is obviously exciting, there's also a bit of sadness because this person is going to miss their pet dog. Okay, so can you write a sentence with context that uses the word, uses the oxymoron, bittersweet? I find that quite a lot actually, Ira. That's a good sentence. I find a lot of stories have bittersweet endings, don't they? That might be one of the most human sentences ever, Skylar. It is bittersweet going to school. I miss my bed, but I love learning. Who doesn't miss bed? Oh, I like that, Hayden. Graduating from high school was a bittersweet moment because I was excited for the future, but sad to leave my friends behind. Yeah, cool. Very good. Very good, Kiva. And I agree with you, Kiva. I have cats, so I also would miss my cats and do miss my cats when I have to go away. It was bittersweet when the boy moved house because he would miss all of his friends, but was excited to see his big house. Perfect, Ava. Yeah, well done, guys. Very good. This is what bittersweet means. Good. And remember, I know I say this a lot, but let's not make this the only place that we use oxymorons. When we do creative writing, whether it be at school, in an exam, at home, try practice using them because that's how we're going to remember them. All right, let's move on to the final oxymoron on the screen, living dead, and go to Alexa. Alexa, what does living dead mean to you?
I think living dead means maybe like, say, well, this is really sad, but say your granddad passed away, but you felt like he was still there. So you were like, I think my granddad's still in the living dead. I feel like he's right next to me sometimes.
Oh, I really like that. I love that, and it's a feeling that definitely that I feel quite a lot of the time as well. So I love what you said, Alexa. Very, very good. So yeah, that definitely is a thing, but living dead's a little bit different, and it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? In fact, I would argue that it probably applies more to what Alexa said, or just as much to what Alexa said as to what it actually means. Let's go to Ira to see if Ira thinks she might know. Ira, what does it mean to you?
I think it means that kind of what Alexa said, but I think it means like if you like if one of your friends changes school and it is I think it's like what Alexa says.
The same as Alexa? No, no problem. No problem. And again, I kind of agree with you. It does sound like that. We'll ask two more people and then we'll talk about it. Let's go to Ragnar.
It might mean that like when like basically it's like when someone's like very sleepy and they start walking, they just like they're like a living dead.
Yeah, good. You're onto it. You're definitely onto it. So, pretty much correct there. We'll go through it properly in a second, but let's go to one more. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, what do you think?
I think it's somebody that is dead but looks living, or the opposite.
Okay, right. So, let's clear this up, guys, because a bit of a challenging one. Um, Living dead refers to zombies. Okay, now, zombies, of course, are not real, but they're very much real in the sense of, comics and maybe some movies and Halloween. But also, it refers to what Jacob and Ragnar spoke about as well. So let's look at the sentence first, and then we'll talk about it a bit more. Living dead refers to zombies or a friend who is so tired that they appear to be both living and dead at the same time. And here it is in a sentence. The living dead exist in scary comics and movies only. So when we're talking about zombies, I hope this is not too scary for you guys. Obviously, we're talking about a fictional character, aren't we? This is how often they're referred to as the living dead, because they are these dead beings that come back to life. But we might also say that someone is like the living dead if perhaps, they go to school and they seem really tired and they don't seem with it. We might also use that as almost like a exaggerated adjective to describe them. Okay, so it's up to you. You can either write a sentence that refers to living dead as that one friend you've got who always seems a little bit sleepy, or maybe you want to use that phrase, that oxymoron, living dead, to refer to a zombie. So give it a go, guys. 1 minute. Yeah, some really creative sentences here, guys. Very good. All right, 15 seconds, and then we'll move on. All right, fantastic. Well done, guys. Let's move on. So, really quickly, let's summarize what we've done. So, we understand what an oxymoron is. It's when we have two words that are together that are antonyms but create one meaning. We've looked at 4 types on the screen right here, and we've used them in sentences. Now, what I'd like you to do is we're going to go through the list and see if we can create oxymorons by joining a word from the first column. Use a different pen colour. Joining the word from this column here to a word from this column here. So can we join 2 words together to create an oxymoron? So I'll give you sort of 20 seconds to have a little look, and then we'll work our way through the list. And I think next on the next person I need to ask is Oki and Ari. So let's go to Oki and Ari. Okay, what do you reckon? Can you create an oxymoron?
Awfully good sort of suggests good. You might think it's a good thing, but then awfully sounds like you're going to say a bad thing. Like it's good and bad at the same time.
Cool. So yeah. So before you go back on mute. So you're right. Awful and good are antonyms. But what do you think they mean together? If someone says something is awfully good, does it
It
mean it's
means
bad or good?
it means kind of terrible, but good. Like this is terribly good. No. Like if you were going on holiday and then it was good, but then awful that you had to leave your dog behind, let's just say.
Okay.
I think that it means, I think because awfully, when you say awfully, it kind of makes you think of something big that happened that was awful. So it means like awfully good news would mean really good news.
Yeah, very good. That's what it means. I mean, I just said it myself. Very good. Awfully good means very good. Okay, so when we say awfully, I understand why it sounds like a bad thing. But when we use it in this context, awfully good, we're talking about something that's good. Yeah. So if you maybe you describe your mum's cooking as being awfully good, you're only given a positive. Yeah, it's good cooking. Okay. Let's go to Hayden. Can you find an oxymoron?
What do you say, sorry?
Are there any other oxymorons? Can you join one word from the list on the left to the list on the right to form an oxymoron?
Is act naturally one?
Perfect. So, what do you think act naturally means?
Means like just do what you normally do. For example, if I enter or someone enters a new school, just act naturally.
Perfect. That's exactly what it means. So, the reason it's an oxymoron is because the first word says act, and that means to pretend to be something. But when it's put with naturally, natural means just to be normal, like Hayden said. When we put them together, it means be normal. Yeah. So we're not actually acting. That's why it's an oxymoron. It says the word act, but we're not acting. We're being normal. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Let's go to Florence.
Well, maybe we can put clearly with confused, so clearly confused.
Perfect. Okay. What does clearly confused mean, Florence?
Really confused might mean so like you're really confused. So for example, like someone like says something and you're really confused.
Amazing, fantastic. Yeah, that's exactly what it means. It just means very confused, right? So clear, if something's clear, it means we have no trouble with it. We have no problem understanding it, doesn't it? And confused means the opposite, but put together, it only means confused, doesn't it? And that's what makes it an oxymoron. Okay, we've got two more. Let's go back to the start of the list. Annabelle, can you see any other oxymorons?
I think old news might be one.
Cool. What does it mean?
I think it means like something that's really old, but it's just stuck in your head. So it's like old news that you haven't told anyone.
Yeah, very good. That's what it means. Old news means something. Yeah, I like what you said there. You haven't told anybody something, but it happened a while ago, so it's old, but it's still considered news because the word news comes from the word new. Yeah, meaning new information, right? So old news put together, we've got the word old, the adjective old, and the adjective new, which mean opposite things, but together it just means something new that hasn't been told. Oh, that's old news. I already knew that. Yeah. All right. Now we've got one left, so we know what it is. So I'm just going to ask Ava to sort of define what it means. So, Ava, why is small crowd an oxymoron?
Because small is like there's barely anything, and crowd there's like a lot. So if you put it together, it kind of means like there's a crowd, but it's not really that big. It's like a little one.
Perfect. Yeah, well explained. So as Ava said, small and crowd suggest different things. Like Ava said, small means not a lot, And crowd, when we think of the word crowd, we think of lots and lots of people. But when we put them together, we kind of change slightly the meaning of crowd. It becomes, rather than a huge number of people, we're picturing just a few people. They're a small crowd. So that's what oxymorons are, guys. We're getting two words that are antonyms independently, but when we put them together, they mean something else.